Margherita. Hi, hello. Hello, everyone.
Well, if you are in, maybe we can start.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Well, the topic of this third appointment is best practices from non-cultural communities. So today we are going to know and explore example from other communities from other field to get inspired, to get tips, suggestions to help the M.I.C.A community to build this community, to go on in this process of community building. And for today, we'll have 3 special guests. We start from Stella Sala, which is from a cooking community called Cookpad. I know that it's really a big community in Greece. Maybe, I don't know, someone of you already know her and this community. And then we move to the second keynote speaker. She's Susana Gomes da Silva from Portugal, and she's from the Gulbenkian Museum, and she shared with us examples to keep in contact with the community. And then we have Lana Jerenjev from Community Builders, and she will do with us theory part. Then we have a break, and then we keep with her to do like a short workshop to practice how to build this community. So we'll try to do a more interactive and a more practical session for today, for this third appointment. Then if we feel confident, we can move to Welo, just to ask you some feedback, some tips, some suggestions to go on in this process. If you don't have questions, we can move on with the, with the first ice breaking. Try to do with my slide. This is a first ice breaking where we would like to ask you, what's your favorite national food? Because our first keynote speaker is a community, is a cooking. She's a manager from a cooking community, so we'd like to introduce this topic because we think also that the food could be an important cultural connection to build this networking. And we would like to share with you the link and to reply.
I did it, Silvia. They will find it on in the chat. I'll share the link to Mentimeter.
Okay. Did you find the link on the chat? If you click on the link, you should see this page. What's your favorite national food and why? We can leave you 5 minutes to think about.
Answers are coming up.
Wait, we can see the first answers. Codfish, bacalhau. I suppose that is from Portugal. Pastício. Okay, maybe you can.
It's my answer.
Read your reply in a better pronunciation than mine.
No, pasticcio is as you.
Pastício is from
Greece.
Okay, paella, great, Greece. Spaghetti, meat and cream, wow. Pizza, wow, it's very delicious and you can put different types of food on it. And then we have passatelli in brodo because they are in the Sunday's family, naturally chosen one dish. Maybe there are other replies are coming.
So there is somebody who joined now. So if you will find the link
so if,
in the chat.
For ones that cannot yet answer to this question, okay, seafood. As a proud offspring of southern Italy, I love fish and seafood. My favorite dish is the calamari ripieni. Great, soft squids. But okay, thank you to all to share your favorite food. And I can see now also Stella. Stella, we thought this this ice breaking to found a better way to introduce you. So
yeah, I should have been here earlier. Okay. Hi.
Hello.
We can't hear you yet, Stella.
You can't hear me? Okay, let's see.
We can, yes.
Yes, we can. We can.
Oh,
you
okay,
can,
okay.
okay,
Sorry,
okay,
I have
okay.
a problem. Sorry. with
Okay.
I also see Susanna that joined us, the second speaker. Hi, Susanna.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Ho. So I don't know if Antonia could share the mirror board to introduce
Yes.
Sala. She's our first speaker. She's from the Cookpad community, which is a digital online community from Greece. She started as an art conservator, and then she turned to this second passion, cooking. So she started this really great and interesting adventure. And she believes that everyone can cook, and her mission is to make cooking fun and have a big positive impact on people's health. But I'd like to leave the word to Stella Zala for know her experience and her community, the history of this really interesting experience with Cookpad.
Okay, thank you. So I hope that I can be helpful to you and my experience can be helpful to you. So I have a presentation. Okay, so I have also a presentation. I'm going to share my screen, right? To show you the presentation.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. No, let me start from the beginning and I will share. Okay, so I'm Stella. I am from Greece. I live in Greece, Kalamata, and I started an online cooking community back in 2004. It started very small in Greece, just me and my friends. And then, slowly it grew to be the biggest cooking community in Greece. And in 2017, we joined Cookpad, which is a global cooking community. So let me share now. And I think that first I'm going to talk about what is Cookpad. So Cookpad is an online cooking community, as I said. People join and they share their recipes, their favorite, what they cook every day at home, and cooking tips. They share ideas, they share experiences. And right now it's a global cooking community in 77 countries and 33 different languages. I'm head of Cookpad Greece. So I just manage the Greek cooking community. But as Cookpad has this mission to make everyday cooking fun and also accessible to everyone, because I firmly believe that everyone can cook. So we also believe that cooking is key to a happier and healthier life. And by solving the problems related to everyday cooking, I think that everyone knows that cooking is not that easy, okay? And deciding what you want to cook every day is one of the biggest problems that you face in the house. So by making it a bit easier and a bit more fun, people can cook more. And by doing that, we think we can help with people's health, society health, the health of a planet even, and build a better world. So in Greece, right now, we have over 35,000 active registered users coming every week. And we have over 100,000 recipes published. So it is a functioning and healthy online community. But what does, healthy cooking community mean? So a healthy online community is one where the members, of course, share a common interest. In our case, this is cooking, but it could be anything. They feel safe in that environment. Okay, they feel that they can talk to the others and it's okay, and share their ideas and it's okay. Of course, they find value in being a member of that community, and they can interact and share their ideas, but in a polite and positive and helpful way. Okay, so if they feel that, if people feel all these things, then you have a healthy functioning community. The key elements of that community, of any community, are first, the base, the majority of the members are usually consumers. What does this mean? This means that they are the people that join the community, but they are silent. They don't want or they don't feel comfortable to share more, to be public, to be more open, but they do. Okay, let me go to next slide. Yeah, so they do get something out of that community, and this is why they come back, and many times they come back regularly. They find something, they find value in this community, but they just browse and get ideas and do that silently. As I said, this is usually the majority of any community. Then you have the creators. So the creators are the ones that make the community feel alive, because they are the ones that participate, They are the ones that, comment, react. In our case, they are people who cook and show their cooking. So they share their recipes, they add photos of their cooking to the other people's recipes, they comment, they like, etc. So these are the people that keep the community, as I said, alive, relevant, inspiring, interesting. The consumers that come, this is the content that they see. They see the content made from the creators, and they feel that this is a place where they want to continue coming. So creators, they can also be people that, like the community that much, that promote it to others. That could be from social media or word of mouth or whatever. They are the heart and soul of the community. But last but not least, you have the community managers. So this is my team, community managers. And this is a very important part of the community, especially when you start the community, but in maintaining it also. The community managers are the ones that review the content. So in an ideal situation, you have a community that doesn't need community managers. They are, very well behaved and no problems arise, etc., etc. So you don't need the community managers to come and review, or you don't need community managers to try and engage and inspire. You have the creators to do that. This, according to my experience, this doesn't happen though. Okay, you always have people that could create problems, or people that have, it could be just, people that have technical problems. So community managers help with that as well. But since you have content that is being published every day, you need people that will review that content and make sure that it is appropriate and it's true. You don't have, in our case, you don't have recipes that are missing ingredients or are spam or are insulting in any way, or there are comments that are insulting. Okay. So this is one thing that community managers do. If there is a conflict, they will go there and try to resolve it. If there are answers, it could be, if there are questions, it could be a question regarding a recipe, or it could be a question regarding, how the platform works. It could be anything, but they need to be there and answer these questions. And the other thing that they do is inspire and engage the users. So you do have, sorry, I have a cat that really wants to come in.
No worries, okay. No worries. Yeah.
So yeah, I was saying they try to inspire and engage the users. And this is very important, especially in the beginning of a community, because you need this base, someone who will go in and be active all the time so that people come and see something interesting and something that's changing every day. So you need them at the beginning. Then you have the creators that do that, but still the community managers need to be there and provide more interest. And what we usually do to engage our users, these are just some ideas. First thing that we do is create challenges. So we create recipe challenges. We pick a topic that is very interesting, seasonal and interesting. So, Easter is coming, so we will have a challenge around maybe Easter cookies, or what do you do with things that, with leftovers after Easter? Things that are very interesting, things that will inspire the creators to add recipes, but also you know that the consumers browse for they want to check out these recipes. So after Easter, they will have, I don't know, eggs and lamb or whatever left over, and they want to do something with that. They will have new recipes. The feed will be filled with these kinds of recipes that the consumers would want to see. So this works both ways. One, it inspires the creators, and second, it is inspiring for the consumers. We have seasonal ingredients. So every month we add what can you find that is in season and how you can cook with it and what do you pair it with. And we feature recipes that contain these seasonal ingredients. We also create articles. We have a blog, and we create articles, again, gathering seasonal and interesting recipes and tips, and then we have we can feature recipes in the feed every day, something different. So this day it will be, 7, I don't know, Lent cookies that you can make. Tomorrow will be 7, I don't know, easy pizzas, whatever. If we see one day that it's very cold, we may feature soups. If it's, I don't know, very hot, we can feature some ice creams or other things. So this will happen in the feed or in newsletters and, of course, social media. And these, okay, I think this is the end of my presentation. Yes, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So these are the things community managers do. So all these different elements, all are very, very important in a community. I don't know if you have any questions, so it may be, more.
Yes. Thank you, Tsala. And I see there are.
I have a question.
Yes, from Panagiota.
Yeah, hello, Stella. Nice meeting you. It's a pleasure to have you here in this M.I.C.A community. So it's very nice that you have this platform, and I would like to know, what do you think would motivate someone to join a community, a social community?
I think, first of all, it would have to be something that is a common interest, right? Like you like cooking, you like whatever that community is about. That's the most important thing. And then you think that you can find some kind of value there. So if we are talking about cookpad, you want to cook today, you don't know what you want, what to make today, and you find this community where new recipes are being published and they are interesting and you like them. So you join, and then you find value because you find new recipes, new interesting things every day, and you try them out and they are, delicious. So you can grow as a cook. So I think this is what motivates. First, it would have to be, interesting, and then find value in that.
So it's about knowing some new recipes, something interesting that they can try out. And a last question is, because we try here in M.I.C.A project to set up an online community, what would you think is the magic recipe, if there is any, in order to keep a digital community alive? Because, okay, you bring some people, but how you can keep them and enlarge this community in the future?
Well, not an easy question to answer, right? So, and I think that the basis is the team that will create it, right? So if you are starting from the beginning, I think you need people that are very, very passionate about this project. So if you have passion and you love what you're doing, then this thing shows, okay? And everyone that comes can understand that this is something that you actually love and you are very interested in it. And they somehow join this passion and they join you and you become more and more, because I think that people can understand when something is true. So all the things that I said are key elements to the success. So you need a good team. You need to create a place where it's very safe. I think this is very important, okay, to have a safe place that you can discuss, and there are very openly without problems. But I think that maybe the most basic thing is passion.
Well,
true. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Stella. We try to do a recap on this virtual board with some keywords of your interventions. So yes, it's important to set a polite and positive way to approach the community, to understand which is the common interest and in which way we would like to define and explore, develop this common interest. And we are in this community museum professional, cultural professionals, cultural project manager, more or less from the cultural field. And I think that an interesting aspect of your intervention is about how your community is composed. So consumer, creators, and community manager. We see that the consumer are the majority probably in the community. So the part of the community which is more silent and browse the community and get in and get out. And then there are the creators, which are maybe the core, the most important part of the community because they are more active and then they create content, and they are maybe the ambassador because promote the community. And then there are the maybe the internal part, maybe the staff that decide to manage how to manage the community, how to take care of the technical issues and how to edit and review the content. So maybe the staff of each community. And in order to explore how this could fit with the M.I.C.A community, we would like to ask to our participants and from people that are following us from streaming, what they think, what they would be in this community if they feel that they could be a consumer, so more silent but present in the community, if they feel to be creators, so more active, or feel to be the community managers, so the staff that going to deal with the more technical issues, create the content and something like that. So we would like to share a survey. We would like to share the link on the chat. Okay, Antonia, thanks. Antonia put a link on the chat, and you can answer to this short question: what would you like to be in the M.I.C.A community? So if you feel to be more community manager, creator, or maybe the consumer? If you have some problem to click on the link, tell us. Okay, we have 6 votes. Okay. Oh, Paula said. Okay. Antonia, could you share with us the final slide about the survey?
Yeah, the why.
Okay.
Yeah. It's oh, sorry. Maybe I need to reshare again. Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
sorry.
there is also this is the same link, or maybe this a second link, no?
No, it's the same link. It's the second question. Yes.
Okay, and then we have a second question. If you could share with us why do you think to be the creator, or maybe the consumer, or maybe the manager? Okay, we can see the first answers. We would like to leave some minutes to think about it. Okay, the first one said, I realistically won't have time for management, thought I like it. And another one is, feel the need for some creativity in my life. Another one said, I am part of M.I.C.A team and I would like to help in building and activating M.I.C.A community. Another one is 50 consumer and 50 health creator. Because I like to explore the various topics of the cultural heritage, which is the main subject of our community. Because I'm participating in too many different projects, no energy left, yes, no. And another one is need to co-create. Okay, thanks. So you could keep on to answer to the survey, and then we can keep all these responses to share with the community. So we saw from the survey that the majority of you would like to be the creator of this community. Someone, the community manager, and 2 consumer. And this was a really interesting survey because it's important when probably we are going to build a community. It's really important to understand which role each of us is going to have. And thanks Stella to inspired us in this question, in this survey, and we are really happy to have you as a guest, because we thought that food could be also a really interesting cultural connection in this community building process. So maybe we can keep on this, sharing recipe and sharing sharing recipe. Maybe we can add in your community. Would connect everyone, yes. Yeah. And I don't know if there are some questions from participants. before I say hello to Stella, if Stella wants to add something.
There was a question from Paula. I'm not sure everyone read the chat. So I don't know, Paula, if you want to ask again.
It's okay. I have already answered.
You want me to ask again on the chat?
Yeah, no, I mean, if you want to say again, I'm not sure everyone saw the
I
chat.
was asking if Stella created her platform or she used some already available.
Okay, so I'm fortunate that my husband is a developer. So yeah, he's right there. So we created the platform, the one that was, before Cookpad, of course. So we created it together. Yeah.
You mentioned the Greek community. Do countries collaborate? Do they compete with each other with the recipes, or what kind of collaboration do you do?
Yeah, we usually don't compete, but we often collaborate. Yeah, I know. But we try to get ideas from other countries as well. It's very interesting when you can, when you want to know I don't want to say the correct way, but a nice Italian way to make carbonara, for example, or pizza. So you go to Cookpad Italy and you find the recipe there. And because you can follow authors, from other countries, it's very easy to see their recipes. And sometimes when there's a very interesting recipe, we may translate it to our language. Or there were instances where all countries had the same challenge for the same period. So it was a joint effort. So let's gather, the best egg recipes from each country. So we do these things, but it's not very easy to collaborate with other countries because of the language differences. So it's not really very easy right now. But the teams, though, the Cookpad Greece team with the Cookpad Italy team and the Cookpad Spain team, etc., we collaborate every day. So we use Slack for our communication, and everyone from all the countries is there, and we talk about problems because problems are global. The things that the teams face each day, they are global. So we talk about them and we try to solve them and help each other using Slack. So we do that every day. It's part of my everyday job to talk with the community managers from the other countries and try to help them as well.
Yeah, thank you, Stella. Yeah, we face the same problem with the international community language. Sometimes people become more shy because of it. So it's easier to have a national one and then to grow up and to go to the international, or I don't know, maybe food is an international language like music, or,
It's very, very, very hard to write recipes in another language.
Yes.
Very hard.
Yes, in fact, when we were choosing the favorite meal or the favorite food for the national scenario, it's difficult to translate some designations. You cannot translate feijoada à transmontana. There is no word for it, so it's kind of difficult. It happens in all the sectors. Yes, it's a problem. Thank you, Stella. Very inspiring. Congrats.
Thank you. There is a Cookpad Portugal if you want.
Yeah. I'm just looking for it.
Yes, I add the the page on the website on the chat, and also the LinkedIn contact of Stella if someone you would like to contact her, to keep in contact with her on LinkedIn.
This is the link to Cookpad US. I will put the
because
link
okay.
Yeah.
The ones, there is one in cookpad.com, maybe just, if you would like to.
I will put the links, don't worry.
Yes, okay, thanks. Yeah, maybe we could take inspiration from this to face the shy or timid issues through starting from sharing food and recipes. This could be maybe helpful for the community. Well, if there is no other questions, maybe we can say goodbye to Stella. We really thank you again for your intervention, for accept our invitation. And maybe we can keep in touch for...
Thank you. Sure. You can keep in touch and ask me anything, okay? It was very nice being here. I will just write these links. Go on, okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Stella. Okay, so now I think that we can maybe introduce the second speaker.
Yes. So I'm happy that today is with us Susana Gomez da Silva from the Calouste Gulbenkian Foundation. Here she is. I will put her on the spotlight. Thank you, Susanna, for being with us. And I'm very happy that Susanna is here. I've been working with Susanna for a long time in the Adeste Plus project. She's the head of the education department of the Gulbenkian Museum, and she's responsible for the vision, strategy, and methodology of the education department of the museum. So I've invited Susanna because she can share a lot of tools, insights, and practices about how to keep in touch with different audiences, especially with what we have been through, due to the pandemic. So when I told Susanna about this M.I.C.A community, and we started our conversation on, what she could share with you, I thought it was really interesting because it's all about putting the people first. But I will leave the floor to Susanna, and she will explain much better than me what she wants to say. Thank you, Susanna, for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Antonia. Thank you all for having me. We've been working together, me and Antonia, at the Adeste Plus project. So I also brought that project to share with you today. But I should start by saying that when I was first invited to come here and kind of discuss with you and reflect with you about how to keep a digital community, I felt a bit scared. And that's why I decided to come with some examples that comes not from knowledge or, a real digital tool, but from the the thing that I think it's at the core of all the changes we've made in the last few years, which is ways of keeping together, of just keeping in touch with everyone, even when we are separated. And that's the reason, and that's the core reason for whatever we've done. Although I must tell you, I don't come with any specific tool. I come with, kind of our story of how to solve some problems in the last few years. As you know, it has been really hard for all of us. So I'm going to share my screen, and I will just talk along.
Yeah, come in.
Okay. Oops. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, try again, Susanna. Maybe it just...
Sorry, I need to open it again, I believe. I don't know, it closed, but it's okay. Things happen.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. It's
as we say in
classic, it's a cliche.
Yeah. La diretta.
Here we are.
Yes, great.
When computers are doing all sorts of things and people send you email, are you doing this? So also things are popping up. Okay. What I want to start by saying is that these last 2 years have been a real challenge for all of us. I know you all will connect to this feeling of, a big challenge that created what I call, every time I talk about it, the phase of humble bravery. I think in the cultural field, we all felt really humble, as everyone else, just being before something that we couldn't control, being, our institutions were closed, we are all at home, we didn't know exactly what to do, how in terms of keeping together with the people, building up the communities we always had, but based on a presential and a physical relationship and a connection, in my case, for instance, with the art world and with our galleries, with our artwork. So how would we keep doing the things we've done to keep a community together, being apart? And so this is the phase of humble bravery. Just recognize that we didn't know exactly what to do, that maybe we were not using the digital tools the way we should have been, just because we were able to work in the physical way. And also being humble because we all were trying, we were experimenting, we were just finding sometimes some crazy and simple ways just to keep in touch. And so I'm going to start by one of the projects we had at the time, the one that Antonia was referring. For the last years, from 2018 till this year, we've been in the Adesse Plus project. And in the Adesse Plus project, we are working about putting audiences in the center and just working in organizational change in order to respond to this aim. And so all institutions were supposed to create a project and a prototype and to implement it in 2020. And so we did. Our project was an experimental project to engage younger audiences in a project of peer programming and curatorship. So we were just inviting all these youngsters. We made an open call. We had 21 youngsters working with us, between the ages of 18 and 25-year-old. And we were trying to work with them in the idea of how can we program in a way that we have a shared goal, and how can they become the programmers for their peers. So it was an experimental process, and we were trying to create a community. We started in January in 2020, and it was the first time we were really working with people of this age in a long-term project. Before this, we always worked in short-term ones. And so when the pandemic hit us, it hit us really, really hard, because this community had just started. And it was based completely on physical meetings, on finding a new space, a physical space in the Gulbenkian Foundation, which is a very, very formal institution, but finding a new space, physical space where we could be informal, where we could gather, where we could chat and discuss, where we could, for instance, lie on the floor and just be together in a completely different way, trying to take out all the barriers that we usually have in such an institution. And this was all physical. This was all people with people being together, touching, having a lot of group dynamics. So when the pandemic just hit us really hard, we thought, is this community healthy enough to keep in touch, even when we are all separated and we are closed? And so we started thinking, how can we do this? And the first thing is really, really simple. We knew that these youngsters don't work with email. They are really connected to the digital world. They are digital beings from the moment they were born, but actually they don't use the same tools as we, you know, the cultural producers or the cultural programmers or the educators. So how to keep in touch if they don't read an email, if they don't use the platform that we usually use? And so the first thing was to keep in touch by WhatsApp and trying to regroup and reassemble and think, why are we doing this and how are we going to keep this going on for the future? So using WhatsApp for us was, you know, a real useful tool, although you cannot keep a project on a WhatsApp group. It becomes a nightmare, but it's quite useful and we still use it. This year, we are launching the second edition of this project, the M.I.C.A project, and we keep using WhatsApp because it was really effective to connect, to create different groups, work groups, to share documents, to create, you know, meeting points. And this is a tool that we now incorporated in many other projects that need a quick response. So it's not only something that we can easily use with our mobiles, it's also a very crucial tool to keep people in touch and keep people together. But besides that, of course, we just went into Zoom. And the thing was, for you and for us, I think for everyone, how to make Zoom not only a tool, but a real social space where we could connect with each other in a human form. The virtual world just keep us apart a bit. So this Zoom moment was the moment for us to think, why are we together? Why are we doing this? What's the way to keep this community together? Who is this community? And so we engaged in this virtual world and created a completely different programming. Before this moment, they were actually programming for the Day of the Museums, and they had a whole set of suggestions, concerts, workshops, you know, everything like the world we knew before the pandemic. And from this moment on, we just decided that we could use different platforms, and we tried several, to create roundtables to discuss the matters that were really urgent for these youngsters, the matters that they wanted to be discussed in such an institution like Gulbenkian, the matters that they thought that sometimes we as cultural producers are not aware of and the youngsters want to see discussed. And so we created this cycle of thinking about the future today of roundtables where the kind of guests and the kind of questions kind of determined the platform we were using. Some of the issues had to do with, for instance, cyber, surveillance, and there was a huge discussion at the time, who is surveilling who. So, for instance, in one of these roundtables, we had to use a very experimental platform that is created by hackers, because none of the guest speakers wanted to use Zoom or Google or whatever we know as a platform, because they are all controlled by the big corporations. And so even in that sense, it was quite interesting to see that the digital tools we use to keep the communities together had to be the right ones to serve the goals. They were not the end on themselves. They were just the mean to keep the community working on what really mattered. And if what was mattering was thinking and criticizing the world we live in terms of hyper surveillance, so the platform had to be connected to that also. One of the things also was keeping this idea of, if the project and this community that we were in was based on a co-work strategy, a shared responsibility. So all the decisions made, and even in the choosing of the digital tools we were going to use, kept the same principle. We decided we were creating a common ground. As Stella said before, a community is a group of people that have a common ground. They share something, they believe in something, and they feel safe in that environment. And we tried to keep this because it was quite important that none of us felt that the aim of the project was lost by changing the means. I'm going to talk about another project for a completely different kind of audience. So another thing that was going on when we were hit by the pandemic was a project, a long-term project that we have having for the last 5 years, called Among Neighbors. It's a project for people over 55. Most of our participants are 70-something. In the 70-somethings, we even had one, and she was 90. And it was a project for to create, again, a relation of proximity with all these people that for a long period of time, they lived just by the Gulbenkian Foundation, but never felt the Gulbenkian Foundation was for them. And so for 5 years, we've been working with these groups of people. These people are usually spending the day in an Elders Day Center. And we worked with the Day Center in terms of creating the strategy for them to come to the museum. And then we would go to the Day Center and work for a long time with artists. And when we closed, for the first time, we realized that the only way we ever used to keep in touch with this community was by going to them or them coming to us. We never used any other tool. And suddenly we had a responsibility. All of these people were just, at home. We didn't feel safe, but they didn't feel safe because they were the risk population, and we wanted to keep it going, and we were not really sure how to do it. So the first thing to do was to make a lot of phone calls. People didn't know how to use their digital tools like us. So there was no way that we would start, a Zoom meeting or whatever. So we just needed to keep in touch in a completely different way, so old-fashioned way, making phone calls, checking on them, seeing if they wanted to keep together, discussing with them how to make it possible, and finding out that this community was really, really eager to do something together. And so that's when we started digital training through phone calls. We spent many hours teaching everyone how to use mobile phones or their computers in order to create a Zoom session. And then we started a whole new program of Zoom sessions with them. Some of the projects I have here, I'm going to show you right away, started by, for instance, using a manuality school kit. So we sent a kit for a workshop through mail. Everybody just got a package, a beautiful package with a lot of materials, so we could engage into some creative workshops to create sketch journals throughout the year, for instance. The other ones, I'm going to show you. Let me see if this works. Oh. Do you see it changed for everyone, the screen?
Yeah, we saw
yeah?
the first slide of your presentation, the art of being together.
Oh.
Yeah, no, the link.
The link was not. Yeah.
Now we can see the link. Yeah. So, yeah.
But do you see my slide or the website?
I think the slide, we still see the slide.
Okay.
Sorry, the slide, yeah.
Okay, I will just explain because I wanted to show you, maybe I can just stop share this and go to the, okay. So for instance, one of the things we were working was again, trying to figure out what was important at the moment. And the moment was change. Everybody was a bit puzzled with all the changes. Uncertainty was the main feeling that the group had, and they wanted to work on this basis. So we just created a whole cycle of online conversation with artists, guest artists, based on the idea of change. And we call it the art of change. What you're looking at now is the page. It's in Portuguese. I'm sorry. It's called Arte na Mudança, which means the art, the changing art. And from these online sessions, monthly online sessions with artists, where everybody could talk with the artists, and the artists would just explain and show how change was part of their creative process, and it was important for them to be able to create. Then the neighbors involved just created an online exhibition. I'm not sure if this is going to work again because I keep changing from one screen to the other.
I think it's coming, yeah? Yes, it's coming.
As you can see, it was them who created with the help of the people from the municipality that works with these day centers and senior university where they belong to. And they created their own works based on the, I'm going to show some, I'm trying to. Sorry. Know what is happening? My screen has my tools just in the middle of what I want to show you. But just to tell you, so from based on these, they all created, so not only they became very, very active on the digital world, as they created themselves this virtual exhibition showing their work, making an audio taping their own statements on the work, and creating even sometimes short movies on stop motion because they wanted to share what happened. So in a way, this was quite effective. So I'm going to go to my presentation again. This was quite effective to make people feel that change was good, that the art could be trigger for this transformation, and that the digital world was part of this, and it was a useful tool for them to keep in touch. Nowadays, we keep doing both things. So today, we keep the physical sessions in the museum, but also a lot of hybrid sessions with the digital tools also working. The other one was a digital project of poetry and storytelling. So with another group of people, we just decided that what they wanted to create was kind of an imaginary world. And so they picked some works from our collection, the one they know already so well because they've been working with us for so long. And based on the works they picked, they created some stories or poetry, and then we made a publication, a digital publication with this that they could share with everybody else. Again, with these people, we keep working on the physical and the digital world, because when we incorporated all these tools in our work, they realized that sometimes it's good, because even if they are sick, if they cannot come, we can still create hybrid moments. And the graphic journals I told you about, it was also a creative workshop, a lab that lasted for 6 months. We had sessions every 2 weeks, digital ones, with the kit toolkits that we sent them by regular mail. And in the end, we had a physical session showing all these sketch journals, and we made an exhibition with them. So in a way, the digital tools were for these people something that they could make the most, not only for this creative work and being together with us, but also they created a lot of things for their families. So in the end, this was also something that it was a kind of an added value. The last project I'm going to talk about is a completely different one. We have a participatory curatorial project where a curator invites a community of people to work and give new meanings to some objects of the collection. And this project, Power of the Word, was a project on women and on the objects we have in the Islamic art gallery. So the project needed to be physical in a sense, because we needed to have a connection with the objects. But again, it was hit by the pandemic. So we had to make a decision. Either we stopped it, or either we would find new ways of working. So one of the things was to create a series of workshops based on the objects that we saw before the lockdown, and then work from there and create a whole presentation of the project online. This presentation had a podcast about the process, a gallery of the objects, where all the voices of the participants could be heard and seen, an exhibition, digital exhibition, and a 350 round exhibition of the gallery, so people could just actually see the gallery as we had seen. Again, these tools we found out allowed us not only to keep this community going on, but actually working with other kinds of communities that maybe are not close to us. And Power of the Word 4, that is going to be launched now, will work in both ways. So one of the learnings, sorry, this is getting out of the, again. One of the, no, what this is happening. See, this is always, okay. So one of the learnings from all the processes we have done throughout the experience was that digital practices are really good if we keep in mind what's the real goal and what's the aim of that community, what's at the core of the community. And they could help us to reach other people. They can help us to make people create something and add meaning to what we've been doing. Like Stella said, we not only had acted ourselves as managers of these tools we were using to create the creative projects, but we were also creators in a sense. And we were also consumers. Everybody could participate, but everybody could share also. The other thing is that it contaminated all our work for schools, for the other audiences we work with, and we created a lot of digital challenges where everybody can participate, online training workshops, tutorials, video, podcasts, and other WhatsApp groups, and a lot of hybrid formats. So if I can tell you that we didn't create any specific tool. What I can share is that we completely reinvented the way we used the tools we had at our disposal, but actually that we were not making good use of. So this is what I wanted to share with you, and I'm open to questions.
Susanna, thank you very much for your presentation. So thank you very much, because it was really interesting to see how you brought your audiences on a digital journey with you. And as you just said, that you didn't invent new tools, but you completely reused the tools that you had. And you know, I really love this journey that you know, you adapt the digital tools to the community you have, so to enhance that community, and not to maybe use the digital tools as you know, to lower down the barriers and not to enhance them. So thank you very much. And yeah, I'll just leave the floor to, you know, our colleagues here, if they have any questions. Yes, I see that Mattia maybe has a question. Thank you, Mattia.
I've got a question. Very, I hope to do it simple because I'm trying to express the concept. It was a very interesting intervention and an explanation, and all the projects are wonderful. I'm very curious about the first step, not only the open calls, but how do you find your public? You refer to someone who is already interested generally in your activities, or you are trying to find a new public each and every time. And in this case, it is most important you first do a project around the subject and try to involve people, or you try to form a project around people's interests. Is first the egg or the chicken?
Well, actually, Mattia, thank you so much. It's a very interesting question. And it's always very tricky, isn't it? Well, so for instance, with this neighbors project, with these elders, actually it started by realizing that there was a need of these populations. So it was not us wanted to do something, but it was just because we were asked to receive a lot of groups, because Gulbenkian Foundation was working in the neighborhood and was trying to connect with a lot of institutions in the neighborhood. And by that, those visits that we were asked to do, we realized that these people were eager to do something and they felt that they didn't belong. So we just thought, okay, I think this is an opportunity for us to build up a new space of relationship with them. And actually we started, the first year was very informal. And we just invited all these groups from, the vicinity, whoever wanted to come. And we just gave them the space to come with us, to visit the museum, and then build up with us, what do you want to do next? The first year was really informal. So we didn't want to make a decision we wanted to make a decision with. And in the beginning, they decided the themes, they decided the issues, and we just helped, the group to create a strategy to do this. And actually, we were working with 3 different groups, and the 3 different groups did completely different things. They chose different exhibitions, different thematics, different everything, It was really nice. And only in the second year, because we felt that we were becoming stronger as a community, we proposed a challenge. We just decided a theme for everyone. We just challenged them, what if we incorporated an artist in the process and we would just create an artistic project in the end? And I must say that everybody was a bit afraid, not us, but these people, because it was jumping to the next level. They were starting to become and to feel comfortable enough in the museums, in both museums. We have 2 different museums. And this idea of, oh, am I becoming a creator also was a bit scaring for them. But actually, this was really wonderful because the artist was incorporating the sessions. We kept working on the long term. So we had a session every 2 weeks, 1 session there in the day center, and then 1 session in the museum. So everybody could feel safe and comfortable. And then we created this new project based on their memories, based on their decisions again. So it was a real participatory and collaborative project. We are very aware of this tricky thing, how to find the people and who's the agenda. But in the case of the youngsters, Mattia, I must tell you that we wanted to do this. So it was the other way. We wanted to do this. We needed to do it on our best day, but we also wanted to do this. Actually, we had a problem. We have a lot of young audiences, but only on school groups. Every time we're talking about young audiences on a voluntary way, we don't have them. We are not the place. We are not part of their really social and cultural scene. And we just wanted to address this issue. We wanted to find ways to know why, and maybe to know better and to do differently. And so we knew that we needed them to think with us in order for us to change. And so it started like this, and we just decided to go on an open call. We just created an open call for a lab, experimental lab, for 7 months. If you are a youngster between 18 and 25 and you want to work on cultural programming with us, please come. So that was the way for us to find these youngsters and working with them. And we are now launching the new call again. The other project was a bit different because we had already a connection with some of these people because of other Power of the World. But the first Power of the World was again with an open call and some guests, of course. It depends on the project. And in that case, Power of the World was also something that started in Gulbenkian and not in the audience, because it was the Gulbenkian Museum's wish to try and find new meanings for the objects in the museum that have been, seen and interpreted in the same way for so long. No new voices, no new visions. And so this curator in particular, she wanted to open up new ways of looking into the collection. So again, the wish was ours, but we knew that this was opening up and take risks. So we needed to find people. So usually when we want to do that, we do an open call and invite people.
Thank you so much. As you probably already know, the second part of the project for us will be on creating actually a digital community. So all this information and Stella's tools are gold for us now. So thank you.
Okay, Susanna, thank you very much. I think we have time, unfortunately, for just one last question from Panajoda. She wrote in the chat, you had 2 different target groups, elders and youngers. How easy or difficult was to manage each community?
Well, both were difficult in a way and easy in others. Well, the senior ones, as I told you, the problem was to make the digital world meaningful for them. Because it was completely out of their, daily life. It was something that they struggled a lot. They felt it as a barrier. So the first thing was to try to find, how would I say, to challenge them, because we knew it was a challenge, but in a way that they would feel safe and comfortable anyway, because no one wants to feel that you're not able to do something. And we had to combat a bit this idea of, I'm not able to do it, maybe I will quit. I think that was the hardest part. But once we got them involved, it was really, really interesting to see how these even improve their lives. As I told you, they gain new tools to talk to to their families, and maybe to share things with their their families, to show that they were also literate, digitally literate. So it was really, really interesting. And for instance, when we had this workshop on stop motion, you can't imagine how proud everyone was, by being able to, control and be completely in charge of a new tool. But it was hard. It was hard to fight this feeling of, I want to quit because this maybe is not for me. So remember, we wanted them to feel that the museum was for them. And now we were using a tool that they felt, this is not for me. So it was building up again confidence and this sense of, yes, it is for all of us, and it will improve our lives. With the youngsters, the thing is, the most difficult thing to manage with the youngsters is commitment. That's what I feel. They committed to something, and once the challenge just completely changed, and they realized that they were no longer able to do the programming in the museum and just to change things in the museum, people just pick up a bit, loose. And even today, we are working with some of these youngsters still, and we are preparing with them the launch of the new call, and we are curating a cycle of videos with these youngsters. The most difficult thing is to commit. These younger generations are so used to keep it loose, and especially in the digital world, it's so easy. You can always say in last minute, I'm not going. Oh, something came up. I won't be able to be with you. That the struggle is how to make it meaningful for everyone in order so you to engage and commit for true, Well, not so sure if I have the solution. We're still struggling with that. But I think real participation, being part of and being responsible for, is part of the key. And also the feeling that if I fail, if I won't go, if I don't show up, the whole group, the whole community somehow will be prevented from doing something that it's really important for us. But building this up, and especially nurturing this, through time, it's the hardest part. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Susanna, thank you very much, and for your session. So maybe, I don't know if the community has other questions, I will forward them to you. Now we need to leave the floor
We don't hear you,
to
Antonia.
a speaker. Yeah, can you hear me now? Sorry. Oh my God, my connection
yeah,
just now is
yeah.
stable.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Sylvia, thank you. Can you stop sharing the screen, and I will leave the floor to Lana. She's here. I can see her in the. Hi, Lana. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone.
Hi. So I'll just say a couple of words about Lana. She's a community alchemist and educational learning expert. And I'm happy that Lana is here to share her knowledge around building community. I must say that she has been my mentor on this subject. And I'm really happy that she had the time to share her knowledge with us. But without any further ado, I will leave you the floor, Lana, so you can start to talk with the community.
Thank you, everyone. So I'm Lana Yelenev, and it's so nice to be here and to be part of your event. I shared with you a Jamboard, and I'm gonna share my screen as well as we go through the Jamboard. I just see. It's not showing. Oh, let me just do that again. Can you access the Jamboard?
Okay. Yes, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, we can see it.
Yes, yes.
so what words, feelings, or images do you associate with the terms community engagement? So if you can just put in, in a sticky note, words, feelings, or images that you associate with the terms community engagement. You can also think of, feelings, what feelings are evoked in you when you think of the words community engagement. A penguin flock. Oh, that's so nice. There. Warmth and strength coexist, happiness, a sense of belonging, sharing, fun, learning. So we'll also share this for those who would want it to still take part. Antonio, you can share the link with them so that we can add into all these impressions and images and associations that people have when it comes to the terms community engagement. And now let's go to the next slide. And think of a memory of when you were involved in a community. What made you engaged in that community? So what was the reason why you got engaged in that community in the first place? You know, so action, common goals, common purpose and ideals. Wanted to learn more, share values. So for the person that wrote the sense of doing something meaningful or meaningful actions, would you want to share what that community is about and what was the event or experience or activity, or what was it that you took part of?
So it was actually me, Lana, Antonio,
Antonio.
speaking. I think it's 3 or 4 years that I got involved in well, it's not really a political group, but it's more a group that tries to keep up the memory of the Italian resistance, especially in my area. It's an area that it's more I mean, it's very strong, the fascist history story. So I now I got part in this group because, you know, we are doing small actions to try and bring up a critical debate around the fascist period in my area. So it's why, yeah.
And may I know how old were you? You know, how did you
actually? You know, it's only 4 years ago because it was when I kind of came back to live in my area, the area where I, you know, where I was born.
I'm sharing here? If you can see, you know, like a lot of what was shared here are towards a common purpose, common goals, towards sense of something meaningful, shared values and understanding. So there's something that's more collaborative, and there's something that is bigger, you know, bigger than us. And this is why when I was looking at, you know, how do we even look at engagement, community engagement in the first place? So this is my, you know, my model of how do we look at engagement as a slider, you know, that there are people who would be coming in and out, people who would be really steeped into an activity or the entire community activity, practices, or there might be people who are just steeped on a specific, you know, specific activity or a specific event or a specific function. So there's many different reasons why we engaged in community in the first place. And the engagement slider is a way to, you know, somehow visualize that people are sliding from left to right in different ways and in different in different means, based on their resources, based on their attention, based on their time, based on their energy. And as you can see within this, you know, within this model, we have on the left side, you know, are the oppositioners, people who are really like totally against the idea of what the community represents. They are the naysayers, you know, really talking bad about the community, or talking bad about the community principles. Those who are doubting it. So these are the dissenters, you know, and I see the dissenters are people who probably don't have the same values, same principles, same vision, and so difficult for them to get into what the community represents. And then you also have those who are in the fence sitters. So these are people who you would say are spectators. They're looking. They're what's this? They're not in any of the parties, and they're very much neutral. And then you get into people who are in the discerning mode. You know, they're starting to seek something. And as you can see, I see this as the Tinder period. You know, where you have the stoking of the fire. There's something that's, you know, that's asking them, okay, maybe I need to look into something more. You know, like explore things differently. So they're starting to hear stories, experiences from others, and they're beginning to discern: is this really for me? Is this not for me? And then they get to be, you know, deconstructing. You know, they become deconstructors, and when they get to be deconstructors, they now try to look at, okay, what is it in this community, or what is it in this activity, or what is it in this team, you know, that causes me to reflect, causes me to think about things differently, or act or behave in different ways. So they're trying to filter through information, trying to filter through the different activities, engagement, invitations, and then eventually they get to be resonators, that they find agreements, they find things that they resonate with, they find principles that they say, oh, this is something that I can live with, this is something that I also have, so resonators are slowly getting into the space where they start looking at the values, the principles, the community activities, the engage, the practices as something that is also connected with them and also resonates with them. And then from there they become conversators, people who gets into conversations, get into dialogues, get into talks with other members of the community. And from those conversations, they get into deeper awareness. They have deeper understanding of what the community is about. And at the same time, they're now activated to do things and yeah, be part of things. And then you have the enablers. They're the ones now that starts helping out, that starts volunteering, that starts taking part in the different activities. Again, this is the activation, and also your conversators, your enablers, your advocators. These ones are the people that are really like your biggest fans. These are people who would say, hey, why don't you take part in this? So they're the first ones who would be sharing things that you're shared, or inviting other people in. And then you have people who would really stand up and claim the stewardship. Now, these are people who would like to initiate certain activities. They have brilliant ideas on how engagement within the community can flourish, and they would be the ones to say, oh, maybe we can try this out. So they start initiating things, they start inviting others in and collaborating with others, so they become collaborators. And eventually, you have people who are firekeepers. They're the ones that really fuel the flame, in a campfire, and they're the ones that tend to it, that fuels it, and then they're the ones who also passes the torch. They're the ones that are more like your core group of people that are in the community. So for me, I see, that when you're looking at the different, the different people in the community, different members in the community, we need to look at it from the different lens of they can engage in different ways depending on their rate, the resources, attention, time, and energy. And it might be in various levels from one activity to another, or from one type of interaction to another. So it's not a one type of engagement only for all the other community experiences. So I see it as there might be that there are times that they see themselves as more as in the kindling, where they'd want to activate things, they'd want to take part, but they don't want to really be the on the stewardship or the leadership role. Or it might be that there are parts that they're not yet fully aware of, or they still are trying to understand. So they're still in that tender state of stoking the fire, trying to get more information and more understanding in. And maybe there are parts of the community activities that they're just really saying no to, that they say, this is not for me, that they're the dissenters in those type of activities. And what would be needed for them is really to provide compassion, to be able to hear out where their resistance is coming from, and to be able to understand, when they're dissenting, what is it about the program, the activity, the event, what's this, a campaign that you've put out, what is it about it that they're resisting to? What's their resistance to change? And then for those who are still in the neutral, those that are still in the fence, sitting in the importance of invitation. How do we invite these people in so that they get to know more about the community, that they get to have an understanding of what the community stands for? So this invitation process is very important. And how do you make sure that as you invite people in, that you also think about diversity and inclusion, and making sure that the voices that you want to be heard and to be part of the community are people that you're inviting in. So this, in a nutshell, is the engagement slider that I'm proposing to look at, from the lens of different people, and for you as well, as community members, that you might have different ways that you find yourself engaging in different community activities, and it's okay. It's okay to be in different layers, because then it allows for also that this understanding of not one activity should be one stop one stop solution for community engagement. So it means that we also need to provide differentiated activities where people can do more on awareness building, or do more on activation, or provide more roles in taking leadership and taking stewardship of the community. So what are the different activities that we're allowing or we're providing within the community that can cater to that, and also can cater to the invitation process and to the listening and setting intention to the dissenters? So I'm going to pause here and perhaps have a first round of Q&A for those who have a question with regards to the engagement slider.
Thank you, Lana.
Are there questions?
Are there any questions?
Or perhaps impressions also, like seeing this slider, what comes to your mind, or what impressions that you have?
Maybe I'll break the ice, Lana.
Yes.
I'm just from this tool, I'm reassured that we don't always have to have people doing a lot of stuff, but that there are different levels of engagement, as you mentioned, and that even if we have people, for example, in the M.I.C.A community, just spreading the word and just being active on social media, because they don't have time to fully engage, they don't have time to be present at the work cafes or present in the meeting. For us, it would be a great success if we would have also a lot of people engaging on the social media for the community. So that's really highlighting for me.
Yeah. And this is also very crucial in terms of seeing, like what would be my role within a given community? Where do I want to play a part in a community? Do I want to provide more activation energy? Do I want to be more in the stewardship role? Where I can say, oh, I'd want to be part of a core group to help brainstorm things, help think about what will be our yearly plan, what are the activities that we want to do. So, or it might be that you're still in that awareness of trying to figure out, what is it that I can get and learn in have by being part of a community such as this. So these are different, different ways where you can find yourself landing. And like what you said, Antonia, it might mean that you say, oh, the ways that I can be engaged are through the work cafes. But when I'm in the work cafe, I'm fully there, so the engagement is there. So it allows for that, it allows for people to really understand that, because before, the model that we're so used to is, oh, if you're not engaged, then you're not, a positive community member. There's a judgment that's attached to it. And for me, I see it as people take in what they can, given the resources, the attention, the time, and energy that they have. And we need to really, put that in as part of our community design, rather than saying, oh, this is the only blanket way in which we engage with each other. So for me, having more of this, this idea of a slider allows us to say, perhaps to this month, because my workload is too full, I would just be in an awareness, the Tinder position. Or I can only just be, one of the conversators. But if I have more space and time, I might want to initiate other activities. So it allows for that, it allows for more creativity as well in how people can show up.
Actually, there are questions in the chat and a lot of impressions regarding, that somebody like Panajota said that she didn't know that there were so many types of engagement. Susanna, do you want to say the question, or I'll read it for you?
I was just wondering if we can consider that someone that it's an oppositioner is already engaged, because actually that's kind of the refusal of engagement. So I was wondering how to consider this. Is this engagement, or is this just, one of the reasons for us to think about engagement strategies? And if so, how can we engage someone that is in such a position?
Yes. Yeah, thank you for the question, Susanna. In essence, if you think about it, right, this is their form of engagement, right? The dissenting is their form of engagement at that given moment. So you might want to see, okay, how can I get them to say, to be a conversational, it's like conversator, so that we can get into dialogue, So one of the things that I love as a complement to this framework is thinking of it as, of these are people that might be deeply entrenched to their values, to their positions, and change for them might be something that is out of their comfort zone. So how to engage them for me is to think of, how can we provide spaces where we can listen to what is their resistance to change, or what is their resistance to having this community activity, having this event, having this program. So I see this as an opportunity to really sit in tension with others. It might not be for everyone, it might be that you need someone that has a very patient, personality, someone who can listen well, someone who can mediate, as someone who can sit in this type of conversations with dissenters, because it really takes a lot of listening and hearing out, where are these people coming from, why is it that they're not interested, and if they're not interested, what is it that interests them? So getting into that space of conversation in the first place might be a crucial point of first understanding, their position. And then from that understanding of their position to figure out, okay, in what ways can you provide awareness for them?
May I just give an example? Maybe
Yes.
because one of the projects I've talked before, the one with the elders on the art of change, actually departed from a specific problem that this group had. They were working with a teacher on the senior academy, and the teacher just asked us as a museum to work with them because most of these people had retired recently and they were having a hard time to accept this new condition. And so she wanted us to work with them through the arts in a way that could create a completely different approach to this idea of change. You know, change is just part of life, so I should embrace change.
Yeah.
And the choice of artists, for instance, on this cycle I've mentioned, also was connected to this. Every time we sensed a kind of a refusal or, you know, some reaction against something, we would think, where does this come from? Can we help on this process? And so we would, for instance, invite a specific artist that we knew. For instance, we invited some old artists or people that change, you know, their lives in a later phase on their lives, right, in order to make all these people realize other ways of thinking and maybe embrace a new phase.
Yeah.
So we would, looking into your slides, so these could be moments where you identify these refusal, this first stage of, you know, saying, no, this is not for me, I don't agree, or I'm doubting that this is interesting enough, into, you know, a conversational mode and dialogue mode.
And this is why the invitation within communities are very important, right? I love the work of Pia Parker in the Art of Gathering, wherein it's really part of the process is how we invite people in. So even before doing any activity, the crucial component of invitation creates already that, you know, sense of belonging, sense of what's this, that this is a space where you can be heard, that this is a space that this can be explored. So it's creating that safer and brave space where people can have these conversations, and also that they know that they would be acknowledged rather than just shoved aside of saying, oh no, you know, this is old school, or really the toxic positivity that happens of just saying, oh, we just have to embrace change and then that's it, right? So this is something that might be interesting for us to think of. Like, if you are in a role that you would want to attend to the needs of deserters, it's really providing this with compassion. You know, how can we create spaces where we can compassionately listen to them, and also not just compassionately listen, but also provide, you know, provide information that can help them make decisions or make, you know, make their own impressions. So that's why the awareness building piece is also very important. You know, how are you making other people that are not, you know, that are new to the community or that does not know the community to know more about what it is, what it stands for. And I see that this is part of, again, that, you know, if we're looking at it from a lens of, yeah, a campfire, that this is the part where we bring in the specific type of wood, you know, that would create that spark for people. And you just do not take a wet wood, you know, or a wet stick, you know. So you need to cultivate intentionally what type of, you know, what type of invitations do we, you know, do we need to have so that these people can also be on board. And in that question of, is it a role that we decide to have from the beginning? It might be yes, you know, again, depending on your resources, depending on your attention, depending on your time and your energy. It might mean that you say, I can't commit to more than this for now. Or if you say, oh, I'm feeling more spacious and I really want to immerse myself in the community, then I volunteer to initiate certain things. And it might be that it's something that you know, you get invited to. So when people see that you're really active, it might be that you get invited to be part of the stewardship, you know, of asking you, you know, would you want to initiate other? So as a community founder or the community builder, it is also your responsibility to see, where our people are at in this given slider. And this is the second part. Let me just share my screen. And I know we don't have much time to go through all of these things. So in the slide, I also added in, some reflection, what key questions, are emerging for you, and what are the other things that you might want to think of or to look at, like what are the patterns that you're noticing? What are the traps or limitations on engagement? How do you see people distributed in this engagement slider? If you see a lot of people are mostly in that aware piece, then you might want to think of how can we start creating stewardship. Who do we need to invite so that they get into more activation and stewardship? What needs shifting or letting go? So which among the community activities are not working? And what actions are you taking? Whose support would you need for these actions to materialize? And what other insights, curiosities, or challenges came up for you in looking at the engagement slider? So this is an activity that you might want to revisit together with your team to look at, what are the different ways. And then I've also included here the descriptions of the different people that you can find in the system. So from the from the oppositioners to the firekeepers. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay, Lana, right, thank you very much. I think it's an interesting tool that we are going to use also in the M.I.C.A community. And I also, some of the people, for example, Rebecca, she mentions how the horizontal format of the slider, how she likes it very much because it's not hierarchical. It's more, it gives more the sense of a more democratic process. And yes, it was really interesting to have you here because there are a lot of reflection that we need to do also in the M.I.C.A community, and the participants also, are going to bring back in their museums. Yes, and I think it is also linked to Susanna's sessions and Stella's session about building this safe space and to work a lot on the invitation process, on the listening process, on how to create this real space for people to engage, to feel safe to engage. So I don't know, I thank you very much, Lana. I know that you might need to go right now.
My pleasure. And if there are questions, feel free to reach out to me. I know that my website was shared, but also through LinkedIn. So please do connect with me.
Okay.
We will.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lana. Bye, bye. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
So I think now, Mattia, we are going to end the live streaming. Yes?
Okay.
Yeah, we can do a break and maybe we can use these tools that Lana showed us for the next work café maybe, and we can save on the well space or the library resources to save them.
Let's say goodbye to everybody who follows us on YouTube and Facebook.
Bye.
And see you on the 9th of May.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
We do the 2 weeks break for the
Easters
holiday.
And see you on the 9th of May with a new work cafe on crowdfunding. So just stay tuned. See you.
Okay.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.